Everybody, it's Jason with Parallel Reality coming back with you here today with an article from the Daily Signal. This is dated October 2nd, and it says, New data on migrant crime raises eyebrows, alarms. You've probably been hearing from people in the Biden administration that, or even like left-wing pundits out there, like, migrants aren't causing any crime. Like, they commit less crime than the average American, and I have to go ahead and say that that's never been true. But let's go ahead and get into this. It says the new data on all the criminal non-citizens coming into the U.S. is shocking. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, checks the background of illegal aliens it has in custody. But the ICE administration's letter to Representative Tony Gonzalez, Republican of Texas, shows that as of July 21st, ICE let 435,719 convicted criminals and 226,847 people with pending criminal charges back in their home countries into the U.S. It says, of those cleared by ICE, 13,099 have convictions for homicide, and 1,845 were facing criminal charges. Some 9,461 have convictions for sex offenses, that's not including assault or commercialized sex, and 2,659 face pending charges. The convictions include other crimes such as assault, there were 62,231 of those, robbery, of which there were 10,031, sexual assault, there were 15,811, weapons offenses, 13,423, and dangerous drugs, 56,533. There's about 7.4 million non-citizens are in the national docket data, so 662,776 is 9% of the total, and if one extrapolates the numbers to the homicide rate in this country, it strongly indicates that the government is letting migrants into this country who commit murder at a rate 50% higher than the rest of the U.S. population. Well, there you have it, folks. I mean, like you hear KJP up there on the podium say migrants don't do that, and hear other liberal pundits say they don't commit as much crime as regular citizens. Well, there goes that talking point. Because these numbers clearly underestimate the crime rate of those non-citizens. The non-citizens in the national docket data turned themselves into border agents for processing or were caught. Those who don't turn themselves in are obviously far more likely to have something to hide from those doing the processing, so-called gotaways, who are observed illegally entering the U.S. but not caught or turned back. These figures coincide with other data from the Arizona prison system and show illegal aliens commit crime at much higher rates than Americans or legal immigrants. So under the Remain in Mexico policy, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services did background checks on immigrants' cases, including contacting the country that the immigrant is from before they are approved to come to the U.S. ICE agents cannot access the same databases to check on the immigrants, and they don't contact the immigrant's home country. Plus, the massive inflow of immigrants has overwhelmed the system. The deputy director for ICE blames the enormous workload agents face, so they haven't been able to do even the limited background checks they are doing. There are so many coming in that the government can't house the immigrants until their backgrounds are properly checked. And you can blame a certain female presidential candidate for this happening right now, as well as her boss that hopefully will be retired. Well, he will be retired permanently, but hopefully she will be retired permanently once the election comes around in a month or so. It says ICE processed these criminals as they entered the country, but it didn't identify them as criminals, so it released them into the country. Now they're just walking around freely in the United States and no one knows where they are. That's a pleasant thought for, you and your children. As it took more than 6 months for the Biden administration to finally respond to a congressional request for these numbers. Yes, because it was so important to them. And I think just them waiting that long would probably mean that they knew that it was going to be bad news and they just were like, yeah. This is the deputy director for ICE apologized for the delay. Yeah, I'm sure he was real sorry. As bad as these numbers are, the reality may be even worse. The Biden-Harris administration is cooking the books to make the border crisis not look as bad as it is. Well, we knew that too. It says, for example, in mid-September, retired San Diego Border Patrol Chief Agent Aaron Heitke testified how the Biden-Harris administration ordered him not to publicize the arrests of illegal border crossers identified as having ties to terrorism. That's, again, another pleasant thought for everyone. The Democrats quickly pointed out that some of these criminals came in before the Biden administration. But the administration's letter to Gonzalez, the Texas congressman, didn't provide a breakdown of how many came through under Biden-Harris. The administration policy, with its limited background checks and overwhelmed agents, has a much higher error rate compared with Trump's Remain in Mexico approach. Background checks are ineffective if officials don't even contact the immigrant's home country. It says even if illegal immigrants weren't committing crimes at higher rates than the general population, the American people have a right to expect those entering this country to be screened in order to prevent more murders. murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and thieves from entering the country. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have the authority to call for expedited extradition for criminal illegal aliens in the U.S., but they've only moved to make extradition more difficult because they don't care about you. And as I'm recording this, it's been a few days since the hurricane has kind of destroyed western North Carolina and eastern Tennessee. And plus stuff like this, they don't care about you. And it's Democrats. Democrats do not care about you because if you look at what Ron DeSantis did in the hurricane aftermath in Florida, he fixed everything already. But people are asking for FEMA to come to these towns that have been annihilated, in western North Carolina, eastern Tennessee, and what's happening? FEMA's blocking people from doing stuff. Like, this administration and Democrats actively dislike you. Anyway, I'm done with that. I'm going to keep going on a rant if I keep talking. So let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Did you already feel that this was certainly a thing, that migrant crime is actually higher, or did you believe the Democrat bullshit? Let me know in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.